It works.
All right, on this episode of Sister Shenanigans. Hello, I'm Alicia. This is Katina. Alicia, welcome back. So we realize it's been a hot minute since we've posted another video. And I was on vacation recently. My man Z and I took the motorcycle to Niagara Falls. And so that was a great trip, by the way. Weather was amazing. The falls were beautiful. If you ever get a chance to get out there, go see it. And I would highly recommend making sure you also take that Rainbow Bridge across to the Canadian side, because to watch those falls go down is just beautiful. So Katina, how has your week been?
Oh my gosh, it's been rough.
Yeah, do tell. What's rough about it?
My son. Oh, well, Sunday, he decided that he was going to run to the park. Literally made it to the park. He was really fast. Oh my gosh. We told him to take a bath, and then I don't know why we got a park stuck in our head. But then Monday, he woke up everyone at 5 a.m. And then he decided that he was going to open the garage door at 6:30 and go ride his bike with his backpack. I have no idea where he was going. But just not making good decisions. And then, I had to wrestle him for half an hour because he was like hitting people with things. And he's a work in progress. We do a lot of therapy with him, but it's all a work in progress. And then,
parenting is rough for some of us.
It is rough. He's such a good kid. He just, I don't know. And I realized too, I shouldn't shame. There's shame with it, which there shouldn't be shame because, he has a disability, but we expect our kids to be perfect, which is very unrealistic. And I realized there's a lot of shame with that. And it makes me feel bad. So why am I ashamed of? He's a kid. He's learning. He's growing. I'm doing everything I can to make him better and to help him so that he can be on par with all of his peers. And I wonder if we should talk about the shame with parenting and the shame in general.
I think that's a good thing to start off with. We don't realize how much that can affect us. And especially as parents, society has dictated how we should raise our children or the expectations for our children. And when those aren't met, or we're out in public and we get looks from people when we have children with disabilities who don't necessarily look like a child with disabilities. That autism especially, they look just like you and me, but they're not like you and me. And a lot of times people will look at you kind of in disgust. And it's shameful, where you're like, okay, I'm dealing with what I'm dealing with right now with my child. My child has a disability. This is a behavioral issue. It's not a behavioral issue. It's not that I'm a bad parent. But they can really make you feel like you're a shitty parent sometimes.
I can say I went to Brain Balance and he destroyed the waiting room, and those parents were phenomenal. But they understand we're all going there for the same reason. We have kids who need a little bit of extra help. And that was I wish that as a society we understood more about that it's not necessarily a bad thing. We shame people for it, but is it really in their control? And you don't know anything about the people, you don't know anything about their life, you don't know anything they're going through. So the judgments, I feel we should just be kinder to each other, more understanding.
Well, and I think a lot of times too, what remember too is other kids will look at those other behaviors and mimic them. You have that going on right now in your home.
The youngest,
she sees those behaviors of her aunt son, and she starts doing those behaviors too, because that's what she sees as a younger sister to an older child with aunt. And that's hard. Children do mimic each other. So a lot of parents too then, they don't want to necessarily have their kids around your kids for that reason. And it's a conscious choice, obviously,
I can totally
on their part.
Hit on that. I really don't let the kids go places because of, I guess, that shame, but also I don't want you to look at my kid and then your kid is mimicking that, and then you're gonna blame me. Not that I think anyone's gonna blame me, but in your head you're oh my gosh, then it's gonna be my fault, and they're gonna see that my kid's not perfect, and now he has a behavior in public. And I can honestly say, even before he got kicked out of school, even now, because he doesn't go to the same school because he got kicked out, they all ask about him and we're oh, we were hoping to see him back. And I guess I just need to look at it completely. There's a community that I feel I'm missing out on because I'm taking that shame. So I'm not taking the community when I should be taking the community and the support, but I'm not because I'm shameful. And I'm trying to think, I was thinking about this on the car ride, and I was just like, that's pretty silly to like miss out on something because of that.
It is. No, you're not wrong. And that's hard though. But also at the same time, like as you are a parent with a child with disabilities, you know, it's work. You know, you're going out in public, you've tried to, and it's, how do you enjoy yourself when you're constantly dealing with those things? And that's hard too. You know, and then you feel like I'm not being a good enough parent because I can't do it all. And like, no, you're not supposed to do it all, unfortunately. But then your other kids miss out on things because of that,
do
you know?
a lot of things. Like I have a lot of mom guilt with them missing out on things because I'm just like, oh, it's not going to work. And then like not even the one, but there's two that have disabilities, and they're completely different spectrums of disabilities, and they completely act differently. But it's always, because I was trying to explain to the oldest about this, and I was like, it's hard for us to do things because we have to constantly think about everything that could happen and how we're going to handle it. Like we're always on the defense, or always like there's so much anxiety with it too, because you're like, oh my gosh, are you going to behave? Are you not going to behave? Like, how am I going to be able to get you out if you're refusing? And there's just so much, I guess, planning and emotions that I just realized go into it that really just stop me from like...
Yeah, you just go down the rabbit hole of all the what ifs. Yeah. That's tough.
I mean, and there are some times we do go out and like it's great, but then when the times that we're not and like we're refusing to go, or we're screaming, or we hit someone, or like something happened, and you're just like, I'm never mad at the kids. Like, I understand it's their disability, and I understand, like, we're working on it, and it's a progress. I mean, even with my son running off all the time, like, we try to tell him, like, adults get scared when they don't know where you are. Like, it's unsafe to do that. But it's hard, though, too, because he doesn't understand about, like, the safety piece. And it's like, well, I was just doing what I wanted, which I get as a kid. Like, you want to do what you want to do. I want to do what I want to do.
Well, and with that severe ADHD that he also has, like that
very
impulsivity.
Very impulsive.
Yes. Like, once he gets something in his head, he's just going to go do it. And then there's, like, and then you're like, oh, my God, where's my kid?
Yeah, I mean... And then I found out he was running off in school, which was very scary. So, like, we have a plan now where he has to stay by the teacher, and he had, like, I waved to her to let her know, hey, I'm here, like, he can go. But I was walking, and he was crossing the street as I was walking to go get him without an adult. I was like, what are you doing? He's like, well, I told the crossing guard. I was like, is the crossing guard your teacher? He's like, oh, no, Mom, I'm sorry. I just didn't say it. And, like, he put his head down, and you could tell he felt bad. And I was like, I understand, like, but how do I get you to understand that? Like,
training.
Yeah.
Training never ends.
No, it doesn't.
And it is tough with you, you know, and I know there's a lot of parents out there who are dealing with the same things, you know, and especially like you said, there is shame that comes with that, you know, and we don't talk about that enough as moms. I think all moms feel some level of guilt and shame, but like, especially when you have children with disabilities, there's a whole nother layer that I know I can't even compete with that you go through on a daily, you know, with that. And like the looks of other parents, you know, the judgment of other parents, you know, as much as we try to say that, like, you know, oh, we try to be more open to those parents and this and that, like, naturally as a species we're judgmental fucks. I'm just sorry, like, that's the society we've built, unfortunately. Yes. Like, and everything gets judged from how you look to how you present yourself. You know, there's this double standard. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, you know. So how do you, you know, as a mom, like, and a person too, like, you're not just a mom. Mom's a label, you know. You're also you know,
sister,
a mother, a wife,
lots of labels.
Yes. You know, and then, you know, like for me, like there's Alicia.
Somewhere in there.
You know, and there's Alicia without all the labels. Like Alicia, who's not someone's sister. I'm not somebody's daughter. I'm not somebody's wife. I'm not somebody's mom. Like, who am I when you take all that away, you know? And like, do I like that person? Do I not? You know?
I mean,
or is your whole identity wrapped around your labels? You know, because with labels, unfortunately, come an undercurrent of an expectation. Right?
That's true.
You know, like there's a way a mom's supposed to be. There's a way a sister's supposed to act. There's a way a wife is supposed to act. A daughter, you know, all those things that, you know, in the society that's, is a organizational construct around us, that we grow up in, and what happens when we don't meet those expectations or our own expectations of what we believe them to be.
I feel like there's also a lot of pressure too with like having to be what everyone expects you to be.
I think there's so much pressure for parents these days compared to before.
I would agree.
Like they used to kick their kids out of the house, don't come home, and they had to have those commercials at 10 o'clock. Do you know where your kids are?
Like those.
We've come a long way. Like they've changed things so much, even from our parents' generations, of what you should be able to do. You should be able to work 40 hours a week, raise your children, be active in all of their things, not be tired, still be beautiful, still be able to present yourself well, still be fuckable, still be, like good looking, still be able to cook a meal, oh, you're tired. Oh, you're not supposed to be tired, but all those things can be very depressing, and then we get ashamed of ourselves for not being able to keep up that pretense, and like, we forget, like, we all need rest. I think our society is so go
agree,
that we don't take the time just to rest, or like to even like be nice to ourselves for needing to rest. My man is one of those, like, he feels guilty if he takes a break, if he rests.
I feel like a lot of men in society are taught that, though, also, like, you have to go. You can't do anything. You can't rest. You can't.
In what world? I'm sorry, that's not realistic. You go back to our culture, like, all this technology and everything else we have is all relatively new. We should not be go. We have to take time to reflect. We have to take time to see what's working for us, what's not, adapting. I know for me, very young, I read a lot. Yeah, I read every book I could get my hands on anything, and I realized that the societal construct that we have is not conclusive for people going through life. Like, it tells you go if you're not busy, but we need rest. We need reflection. We need to understand, like, I think that's where that shame comes from, is because, like, if we're not giving ourselves those times, we're much more quick to anger. We're much more quick to our short temper.
Never had those times too. I mean, it kind of feels like you're doing something wrong if you're doing it.
Oh, I did. Yeah. There was a lot of guilt there for a long time when I was learning to rest, just to take time every day.
But you think about, like, all the benefits too. Even like, you're more aware, like you said, you're less angry, you're able to think more clearly, you're able to, like, be a better parent, you're able to be a better wife, you're able, like, not better to say you're not doing well, but, like, mentally, physically, you're not as worn down, you're able to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, like, the guilt, though, that comes with that, and the shamefulness, that we have to work through as individuals, because here's going to be the thing. Judgment, everybody's got one. They're like assholes, like, everybody's going, like, and here's the thing, we all too subconsciously will judge other people.
That's true.
Like, I can't, and girls, I'm sorry, but us women are way worse sometimes than those men.
Oh, I agree.
Like, and I will tell you, I definitely check out women way more than I check out men. Like, and I do that to other women. Like, well, I go up and down and, like, okay, and try to pick them. And I've caught myself doing that a couple times, or I have to be like, wow, I'm being a dick. Like, why though?
I know, I've had to be like, why are you doing that? That's so mean, stop.
Yeah, like, but it's subconscious too at the same time, like, because that's just what we've seen our whole lives, and that's how, society, like, we're always really quick to judge each other. Not my problem, not my monkey, not my circus. It's kind of where we got to remember, like, why are we worried about, Peter, our neighbor over there? The only time we should be worried about him is to make sure that he's doing as well as we are. Otherwise, we're not trying to see if he's doing better than us. We have this thing too where we compare.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, we're comparing ourselves to other parents in this. We are not all the same parents. Okay, that doesn't make us bad parents. We all know how to be shitty parents. We know what shitty parents are. But there's a million ways to be a good parent, And that's not necessarily having all the money in the world to spend on classes and doing this. Because then how much time are you really spending with your kid?
Well, then the pressure I feel like some kids get put on when they are and all that stuff, and, like, the parents are so competitive and, like, you have to do better and you have to keep going.
Your kids need rest too.
Yeah.
I teach my kids that all the time. My homeschool is pretty laxed for my children for that reason. I set a schedule, like a rough schedule, a tentative one on, you have this much time to get this done in this week. Plan your schedule. It teaches them to work around that. If they have a whole day where they take and they do absolutely nothing, okay. Why am I going to get mad? You need a day. Do you get your work done by the deadline I've given you? Yep.
That's
All
a
right,
life
then.
skill. That is a life skill. Planning, organizing, deadlines. Like, you need that for real life when you get a job. Or, if you really want to do anything.
Well, you do. And I try to be as practical as I can with them while making sure they understand who they are and where they're from. And it's really hard when your kid, when you have kids too that go to school 8 hours a day, then they're doing all these extra things at night. Like, where's their rest time?
That's one thing I realized the oldest was saying is because she does volleyball and like she has school and she's like, I just don't have any time to just like be me and relax. And I was like, that was really eye-opening to hear that from her perspective, because I was like, oh my gosh, you're right, that is so, like, and it's just what we do, so I don't think anything of it,
Yeah,
it's just
like
what
to keep
we're
them
doing.
go, always busy, but you don't. Meditation has very proven positive effects, and rest is proven to have positive effects. We should be taking that time, because if we're not, then how are we reflecting and getting better and doing better without taking that time in your head? I know not everyone likes to be in their head, but you should. If you don't like you can't be in your head, then you need to fix you.
And like yourself.
And only you can do that. Society is not going to for you, Why our depression rates have skyrocketed. Medication rates have skyrocketed because these people think like there's something wrong with them when really you just need to rest.
Well, and you think about a prison or in your own head, like that's a horrible feeling, and that can get very lonely and depressing, like you said, but also all the other emotions where it almost, I feel like it's paranoia though too, because you feel like everyone's judging you and everyone's thinking the same thing. It just has so many, I feel like a ripple effect on everything.
Oh yeah, I've been through that.
Yeah, I have too. That's why I can say that. Like it is.
And it's hard. You try to go out there and function with those kinds of things going on in your head, and you're like, that's not okay. Like, that's not. Like, you're not okay. And, like, you're either meaner or you try to put up this front of being a dick, because you're thinking everybody's judging you anyway. And that's tough. When you realize most people aren't. And if they are, why do I give a shit?
And most people really don't care. If we really think about it, most people don't care. Like, we think they care. They don't give a fuck. They really don't. Like,
that's that whole thing of being your authentic self, too, that people talk about. Like, if you like you love you, actually. There is nobody that's going to come in and change that.
True.
People are always going to have their opinions. And you're not everybody's cup of tea, and you shouldn't be. Let me make that very, very clear. You should not be everybody's cup of tea. Okay? You are who you are. You need to find your tribe. And there are people who are like-minded like you. But there are people who will not like you. And that's fine.
Yeah, that's okay.
I never needed to like someone to respect who they were. Okay? You don't need to be liked to be respected. And you shouldn't be. If everybody likes you, you're putting on a show. You're not being true to you. Now you're compromising on certain morals to have people like you. And why should you be? No. I don't care what society tells you or what they think. You should not be liked by everyone. That's a problem that we teach our young kids too. That they should be sharing with everybody. That they should be like, you should be kind to everyone and this and that. Polite. You should be polite to everyone. Not everybody deserves your kindness. And like my grandma Lynn, let me tell you this woman here. All right. I can still picture her when I do something that I shouldn't be, and I'm being mean, like,
see it in my mind's
coming
eye,
upside the head, like, what you doing,
Or go look at the lake. I don't want to look at your face right now.
Which, is fine. Look at the lake, But one of the things she always said, you don't have to like them, you don't have to do this, but you must always be polite. And this woman had a way of putting you in your place. She never raised her voice, and she never swore. But you could just, it was beautiful. She was always polite about how she said something, but she had no problem calling you out. Don't do that. Oh, you like doing that. Why do you like doing that to people? You're not a very nice person, are you? You know, and you kind of people do a double take, like she didn't yell at you. She didn't get mad. She just called you out on your shit.
She shamed you.
You know, and you felt ashamed by that.
Yeah,
probably because you were doing something wrong, okay?
Or like, oh, someone actually called me out. What?
And I think accountability is a good thing. You have to be accountable for your stuff, and you should be holding other people accountable for how they treat you.
I think that's one thing I know I personally lack a lot of is holding people accountable for how they treat me, or like being like, oh, well, maybe it wasn't me, or maybe I did something to make them do that. But in the grand scheme of things, there's things that you just shouldn't allow people to treat you like.
Yeah.
Especially like if they're always making you feel bad about yourself, they're always making you feel shameful, they're always like, they're just not helping support you and being a good team member.
Yeah.
Like your personal life, like
yes, because that's what personal life we get to pick our people.
yeah, I'm not in general, but like your personal life,
and those people make or break us.
That's true. That's very
just
true.
like your relationship. They make or break you, and too many of these people are stuck in a relationship where that person's breaking them,
and they're miserable.
And
they.
When I was, one of the things like my dad always stressed this, my grandparents stressed this, the most important decision you'll ever make is who you marry and who you breed with. Okay? And the Bible has one saying only about picking your partner. You pick someone you can go to war with. You can learn to love. Okay? But you can't learn to respect your partner. If you don't have respect for them right off the bat, what are you doing with them? If they don't have your back, if they're not loyal to you, anybody who talks shit to their family about their partner, you don't give a shit about your partner. That ain't loyalty, because all those people are loyal to you. So now they're all going to have a bad taste in their mouth with your partner. And now when your partner goes over there, he's going to feel that. He's going to have that awkwardness. They're not going to like him. They're not going to include him. And like, why would you do that to them? I see a lot of women who shame their men. And it is very sad to see. That your partner doesn't deserve that. Your problems are your problems. You keep that between you. Your partner should also be your bestie at the end of the day. Nothing comes between that. Nobody else. So if you're going to allow your family to, or you're going to talk shit about them to everybody else, like talking, and here's what I mean by talking shit, because we all need to vent. Okay? I absolutely get that. We need to vent about our men,
Yes.
And it's not that we don't love them or this, but we just have a moment, so I can call my sister and know it ain't gonna go nowhere. I
love your man. He's a great person.
He is. But like anybody else, you spend so much time with somebody, they will piss you off.
Annoy you.
They will get under
Those
your
things
skin.
annoy you,
All right?
yes.
Like, I know. And I know I ain't no saint. I know I get under his skin too. I know I do shit all the time. And he's like, really? And I'm like, you know what you were getting into. I never pretended to be anything other than myself, So do remember that. There is a difference between shaming and then venting to someone about your partner.
There is. And I think that is a great ending, Alicia.
Oh, it is. Yeah, we're at the end of our thing. I hope you liked this episode. We're on Unfiltered, and just like my ADHD and squirrel, we went from one topic, but they all relate, okay?
I was like, they all related. We're good.
They all relate to something. I know not all you normal folk out there are going to understand, but those with ADHD, you totally get me.
You do. We'll see you next time.
Bye.